Pink, unicorns, plushies, makeup, shopping. I loved all things girly, and I was pretty sure they loved me back. I was your typical girly girl, multiplied by 10. My friends and I were all very similar. We had the same interests. We could spend hours painting our nails or discussing the latest chick flicks. They were the best. But there was one major thing we did not have in common that I never discussed with them. Whenever they started talking about their crushes, I felt out of place. In my 16 years of life, I'd never once been attracted to a boy. While typical girls would daydream about boyfriends and weddings, I could not imagine myself married to a man or having children. This was definitely not my type of happily ever after. Before we continue, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. The truth is that even though I was a girl, I wanted a girlfriend. Although the entire world recently became more open-minded about my particular issue, I didn't feel comfortable sharing this with anyone. My parents were very religious, and I felt that they would not accept me if I told them the truth about myself. I was also worried that my friends would see me differently and not want to hang out with me anymore. So I kept all these feelings to myself. As I sat alone on my bed one afternoon after my friends had left, I wondered what it would be like to develop a romantic relationship with a girl. I was not confident enough to randomly approach a girl. What if she didn't like girls? I might just end up embarrassing myself. I thought of a better idea. I knew it was dishonest, but I decided to download a dating app for teenagers. Instead of uploading my own pictures, I was going to pretend to be a guy. So I searched for stock photos of handsome guys and chose one that I thought was just right. I saved these photos to my phone and set up my account. The guy looked about 6'2". He had hazel eyes, brown hair, and a wonderful white smile. I decided to name him Grant. I was now ready to set up my dating profile. I typed in the name and an interesting description. I'm 6'2" and all for you. I enjoy reading, surfing, and baking cookies for my nieces. I love rock concerts, and I hope to travel the world someday. Wanna join? I made sure that I selected searching for singles within 10 miles of my location, so I wouldn't meet someone who lived too far away. I looked through my profile one last time before publishing it. It was perfect. It was finally time to start swiping. I swiped right and left for about 50 minutes. I stopped when I landed on the perfect profile. Her name was Tricia. She was dressed in blue and posing with a golden retriever. Did I mention that I love animals? I read her description and she seemed like a lovely person. We had so much in common. Our favorite color was pink, favorite food lasagna, favorite place the mall, and she loved Harry Potter. She was a Hufflepuff, just like me. Wow, I thought. A match made in heaven. I instantly swiped right and closed the app. The next day I forgot my phone at home. During my classes, I was distracted by thoughts of Tricia and if she'd like me. Well, Grant. I felt relieved that I finally had an opportunity to talk to girls instead of guys. I couldn't wait for the final bell to ring so that I could go home and check my phone. When it finally did, I sped out of class, hopped onto my bike, and rode as quickly as I could all the way home. I ran up to my room, but my battery was dead. I plugged it in and went to make a snack. When I went back to check my phone, I opened the dating app and felt the most joy I had ever felt in my life. Tricia had swiped right too. She even sent a message. "You're so cute," it said. Wow, I thought while I quickly typed a reply. "Not cuter than you," I pressed send. She replied instantly, which meant that we could have an actual conversation right then. It was too good to be true. We spoke for the rest of the day. In fact, before I knew it, it was already 10 o'clock, and my mom started yelling at me, telling me it was time for bed. I hadn't even showered or changed. The next few weeks, we spoke a lot. She seemed like a really kind and genuine person, and then the more I got to know her, the more I liked her. We decided to move our communication off the dating app, so it meant that I had to make more fake accounts. I made one on almost every social media platform and tried my best to make Grant believable. My fake identity was secure. We continued speaking all the time. Tricia also flirted a lot, which I found cute, so I flirted back. The craziest day ever happened one Saturday when I went to the mall with my friends. We had just bought some frozen yogurt and were sitting laughing at people's outfits when I saw her. It was Tricia, walking all by herself. She looked just as beautiful in person as she did in the pictures. I hopped out of my chair and went to speak to her. "Hi, I'm Rita. You look like you're all by yourself here. Do you want to come sit with me and my friends?" I asked. Thanks for the offer, but I'm in a bit of a hurry, she replied. Oh, okay, I said while forgetting to mask the disappointment on my face. I don't mean to be rude at all, it's just that I'm late for a hiking trip. I'm part of this group that goes on regular hikes to the mountains. We love nature and that kind of stuff. You should come someday. Here, take my number, she said while writing her number on a piece of paper. She left and I went back to my friends, who looked at me strangely because I'd never been the type to just get up and go speak to strangers. That night, I used my real identity and texted Tricia. I told her that I was interested in joining the hiking group. She replied and invited me to a hike, which would happen in the next 2 days. I'm in! Just let me know where I should meet you, I typed. Then I switched back to Grant's identity and began flirting with her again. I asked her how her day went, and she mentioned meeting a friendly girl in the mall who would like to join her hiking group. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I blushed. When the day of the hike finally arrived, I was so excited. I got dressed 3 hours early and went to wait for Tricia, where she had asked. She was a few minutes late, but when she got there, we began walking to meet the group of hikers. I felt so comfortable talking to her, but I guess it was because I already knew her. She didn't seem shy with me either. We walked up the mountain and spoke about everything. I had to really try hard to pretend I didn't already know some of the things she was telling me about herself. I was surprised she felt so comfortable. So, are you seeing anyone right now? She asked. You mean like a guy, like dating? I replied. Yes, silly, she said. No, guys gross me out, I laughed. Well, I've been talking to this hot guy called Grant. He's so gorgeous and he has a wonderful personality too. But he still hasn't asked me to be his girlfriend. I really like him, but, I've never met him in person, she said. Well, maybe you should ask him if he wants to be your boyfriend. Maybe he's too shy to ask. Maybe you should just ask him if you can meet him in person. Sometimes guys don't know how to ask for what they want, I said while instantly realizing what a stupid suggestion I had made. It was too late. I couldn't take back what I had said. Sure enough, that night, Grant got a message from Tricia. It said, Hey Grant, I really like you and I was wondering if you wanted to be my boyfriend. Also, when are we going to meet in person? Without thinking too much, I replied, I already thought you were my girlfriend. Like, did you really need to ask? Of course I'll be your boyfriend. Why don't you meet me near the bookstore in the mall tomorrow at 3? I decided that I would meet her and reveal the truth to her. She was a great person and I didn't want to continue lying to her. The next day, I got ready and felt confident about approaching Tricia and telling her I was Grant all along. But as soon as I stepped out of my front door, I went straight back inside. I totally chickened out. 3 p.m. came and went. At about 7, Tricia sent a message to Grant saying, I can't believe you stood me up. Were you just playing with my emotions all along? I didn't reply. I simply deleted my dating account and all of Grant's fake accounts. The next day, I met Tricia and her hiking group. The plan for the day was to take a scenic walk near a river. When I met her, she looked very sad. Oh no, it's all my fault, I thought. As we walked, I decided to pretend I didn't know what was wrong. Tricia, what's wrong? You look very sad today, I said. Remember that guy I was telling you about? Grant. Well, he agreed to be my boyfriend. We were supposed to meet yesterday, but he totally stood me up. When I sent him a message to ask why, he didn't even reply. Instead, he deleted all of his accounts, and now I don't even know how to contact him. It all seems like an awful joke, she said while starting to cry. I couldn't bear to see her in that condition, so I decided to let go of my fear and reveal everything to her. I'm sorry, but Grant doesn't exist, I said. What? She replied, looking at me like I was crazy. Please don't freak out, but you were talking to me all along. You see, the thing is, I think I like girls. But I've always been too afraid to approach any. I decided to create a fake account using a guy's identity. When I stumbled across your profile, you seemed like such an incredible person and I wanted to get to know you. I now realize how wrong that was and I'm sorry for causing all of this pain, I said, relieved that I had finally told the truth. None of this makes any sense, she screamed and stormed off. I was alone by the river, so I just sat on a rock and stared at the water. I felt really sad and stupid. Eventually, I got up and walked home. I hadn't heard from Tricia for a while, and those were some of the saddest days of my life. One Sunday morning, she sent me a message, asking me if I'd meet her at her house. She gave me the directions and I went right away. Hey, thanks for coming. I'm really sorry for storming off on you like that, she said, as she gestured for me to come inside. I went in and sat down in her living room. It's okay. What I did was wrong too. I lied for a very long time, and for that, I'm sorry, I replied. I understand what it's like to have to hide your true self because of fear of being viewed negatively by others. But I just want to encourage you to be yourself. Those who don't accept you don't deserve to be part of your life anyway. There is a lot of joy to be found in life if we have the strength to be ourselves. Although I like guys, I'm willing to be your friend and supporter through this all. If you feel like you can't talk to anyone else, you can talk to me, she said and smiled. Trisha and I ended up being really good friends in the end. Although we never developed a relationship, she has always been a kind and supportive friend, and she has helped me a lot during this journey.